Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Peter Ward, and I'm a registered civil celebrant. I'll be officiating the events today. We're here to celebrate Mother's Day on a very unique occasion. June, or known to many of us as Junie, who's also my mum, has this year reached a milestone in her motherhood, and we are all here to celebrate this milestone today. It's June's 50th year of motherhood, and so we, the family, have wanted to celebrate this wonderful achievement with her as a mother. We'd like to welcome all those who've come from great distances to be here to celebrate with her, and she would like to acknowledge all the effort that you've gone to get here. We would also like to welcome all her old friends and the wider community who've been good enough to come this afternoon. June would also like to thank the family for the wonderful efforts of organising this afternoon for her. After the formal events of today, we'd like to open this celebration up to those who may have special compliments, wishes and memories that they'd like to share with Mum. For the moment though, I'd ask everyone just to relax and be fully present with us here today. We would courteously ask that any mobile phones be turned to silent for the formal part of this afternoon. This would be greatly appreciated. We also wish to acknowledge all the mothers here today and ask that they join with us in spirit as we celebrate the wonderful gift of motherhood together. We will now hear a reading by one of June's children about motherhood. John, could you please come to the microphone?
Thank you, and hello everybody. Mother is the beauty and the sunshine of life. Mother is the beauty and the sunshine of life. She is the greatest teacher we would ever have. She is the teacher of love, compassion, forgiveness, perfection, creation and fearlessness. Not only did she carry us for 9 months, but she also continues to support and love us regardless of what we have put her through to bring us up. Ladies and gentlemen, we are thankful to God who has blessed all of us with a wonderful blessing called Mother. So today, all of us have gathered here to honour them and their influence on our lives. Thank you.
Thanks very much, John, my older brother. I'd just like to give a little bit of background on Mum's life. June was born to her parents, Harold and Wilma, in November the 5th, 1927. Sadly, her parents split up when she was only 3 years old, and June had to live with her grandparents for the early part of her life. It was here that she learned much of her independence and toughness of character. She talked of the time she would run after her father yelling, "Daddy, Daddy, take me with you," as he rode off on his bike after a short visit to her grandparents. With 4 other siblings to be supported by her grandparents, June had to forego many of the enjoyments and the blessings of childhood. While she was loved by her grandparents, there was little time for the doting that usual grandparents would give. It was here that she learned many of the virtues that she's loved for today. It is in that environment that she learned to work hard and become independent in life and self-reliant. It was here also that she became very well known for her bad temper, as she learned to play in the streets with the older kids. Ronnie, her older brother, who unfortunately is no longer with us today, talked of how all the kids were scared of this little live wire when she'd lose her temper during ball games or cricket in the street outside the house. June always loved school. She talked affectionately of her 8th grade teacher, who always encouraged her talents in language. Being a great speller and one who could spin a yarn made her short stories a delight to those who were privileged to read them. At the age of 14, however, much to her disappointment, June had to leave school to support herself, her siblings and her grandparents. Fortunately, she was able to gain employment with one of her favourite aunts, who owned and operated a fish and chip shop near the ferry crossing at Newcastle. Auntie Annie's shop was where June learned the craft of cooking and serving customers, something that has continued into her later life. No one knows how to cook chips like Mum. Every day she would have to ride 9 miles to work and back. She reminisced of how at times she would be chased by strange men whilst on the bike, and the continuing fear that it put in her of strangers till this day. It was at 25 years of age that she met a new young pastor in her local church. It wasn't long before he began to take an extra interest in this young lady in his pastorate. After 18 months of courtship, Brian asked June to marry him, and before long, June had become a young minister's wife, a role that she would learn to love and then at times hate through the years. Her love of mixing and being with people made her a wonderful blessing to those around her. She reminisces of how she loved being with all the young people in the church. And when one gets to know Mum, you realise that this would always have been the case. One thing that everyone would agree on is that Mum has always been and will always be young at heart. Life has not been without tragedy in Mum's life. I remember lying listening to the sobs of a mother's broken heart all night, as she lay in bed after hearing the news that her youngest son had been killed in an automobile accident. Something that no mother should ever have to live through. One of the proudest moments in the life of Mum was her older son's wedding. I remember her saying that she was so proud of how beautiful her family looked on the wedding day. Mum was always prone to a little bit of boasting about her family, something that only mums are allowed to do. Well, as we look around today at Mum's children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, we can see the wonderful fruitfulness of a mother's life. All the friends that she's made through life and all the people who openly love her. Whilst we know she would never admit it to herself or anyone else to that matter, I think we could sum up Mum's 50 years of motherhood as a wonderful success, and has given us, as her children, a mother that we can really boast about. To end today's formality, Bev, Mum's only daughter, is going to play a song that sums up what I believe to be the essence of motherhood by one of Mum's favourite artists, B.J. Thomas. We thank you all once again for the well wishes that Mum has received and for your participation today. Bev, could you please start the song?
Who's the one who tied your shoe when you were young and knew just when to come and see what you had done, Mama? Oh, Mama.